Just shows you how stupid you are to not understand that the word MF is a healthy thing for your children to hear. That to use the word MF in every sentence is the mark of intellectual superiority, and volumes written by guys like Shakespeare with subtlety and such. That's Eurocentric. What you need is a vocabulary of approximately 50 words where every sentence ends in either MF or be it, something like that. In other words, if it ends in the B word or the MF word, and it's limited to 50 words total with no tenses, now you're talking. Now you have something superior, built upon the oral tradition. And that is, of course, what you're missing as a white man. All these thousands of words you carry around in your head that you learn from Shakespeare or Moliere or any of the writers that you may have grown up on. Toss that away. Toss that away. Limit your vocabulary to 40 or 50 words. No tenses, no past, no present, no future, no pluperfect. And end every sentence in MF or the B word or the F word. And always say, you know what I mean? See, every sentence must be ended that way. Then you have the true African-American vernacular, according to Henry Louis Gates, Jr. And if you don't respect it, well, you need training. You need re-education. You need cultural diversity training. And that's why he's at Harvard. That's where he belongs, because he's smarter than the entire canon of U.S. and European literature. What he has written, what Gates has written, is superior to the Eurocentric culture that you grew up with. Your Eurocentric culture is something of the past. You must evaluate black literature by the aesthetic criteria of its culture of origin, not criteria imported from Western or European cultural traditions. Because if you don't understand that a vocabulary that's limited to 50 or 40 words, that has no tenses in it, no subtlety in it, ends in either MF or B, if you don't understand that, you're showing a tone deafness to the black cultural voice. And you are probably an intellectual racist, and therefore you need re-education in the Gates' America. That's why he's at Harvard. He's such a genius that they took him to Harvard to teach this stuff to your children. Your children come out brainwashed, hating themselves, hating America, hating the European tradition, hating businessmen. And that is why, because Gates is the man who knows everything. You understand the world you're in? You understand the world that we've devolved into? You understand how far we have fallen as a nation that a man like this could be at Harvard University? So there it is. It's all. You want a bigger conversation on race? That's one man's opinion. You just got it. That's all. You want another opinion? You can call me. I'll give you my further opinion on this guy. The cop was a saint as far as I'm concerned. In my day, would have gotten a shellacking with a billy club for a mouth like that on him. The cop asked him for his ID, this and that. The cop wouldn't even talk to him. Show me your ID. What would happen if you did that the next time you were pulled over for something and you started mouthing off to a cop, give me your ID? You ever learned? I learned when I was a teenager that if you pulled over, my friend's father taught us this. I guess Gates' father didn't teach him this. My friend's father taught all of us kids when we were 15, we're about to get a driver's license. He said, let me explain something to you. When you're pulled over by a cop, always be respectful, always show him your license, and don't become a wise guy. You're going to wind up arrested. That's what he taught us, that's all. He said, if you feel that it was wrong, you take it to the courts, and you argue it in a court. You don't argue with the officer. How come my friend's father knew that? A simple deli man. An appetizing man. How did he know that? But Henry Louis Gates Jr. didn't know that? I guess they don't teach him that at Harvard. In fact, the reverse is true, is that only if you don't know that, and if you hate the police, and only if you hate whitey, can you wind up teaching in Harvard. Certainly if you respect the white tradition, the cultural traditions of European Americanism, you want to put it to you that way, then you can't be at Harvard. In fact, you can't teach at all. As you well know, because of affirmative action, anybody who comes from that tradition is automatically suspect. Certainly couldn't work in the Obama administration unless you could garner from some money. Then, of course, you'll accept it. If you have those biases and you can bring in bags of money one way or the other, all right, then they'll look the other way. New York, Eli, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Dr. Savage, how are you? Finally, I get on.
Hurry. You don't have much time. Talk.
No, I know. Why don't you go to England, get arrested, get publicity in England, let all of England hear you, speak to you.
Because I don't need publicity. That's why. I don't need the publicity. I'll tell you what I am going to do, though. I am not a troublemaker like Henry Louis Gates Jr. See, I could do this. I could go there. What if I went there with 1,000 people? All were allowed in, and they came to me, and they wouldn't let me in. What would happen then? You want publicity? What if I arranged a tour of 2 plane loads of people, 4 jets full of people to arrive at Heathrow at the same time on the Savage Tour of England? And we all arrived at Heathrow, and they let 1,999 people in, and they wouldn't let me in. What would happen then? You think there'd be an international incident?
100%.
Well, I'm not going to do it, though, because I am not Henry Louis Gates Jr. I don't need trouble. No, when England apologizes to me, and they send me a letter of apology, and when the Queen invites me to speak before Parliament, I'll tell you what I am thinking of doing. Someone asked me about it today. I may either book an entire cruise ship with 1,000 fans, mainly people who've contributed to the fund, will get first shot, and I will go over to England with 1,000 fans, and we will hold a press conference at sea every day. We'll give video conferences, whatever. We will give a conference every day on the way to England. And when we get there, there'll be a big, big band waiting for us. And we will then go to England, and we'll do a pub tour, etc. Otherwise, I'm not going to England. They can keep their country as far as I'm concerned. If that country doesn't want me, I don't want them. That's all. Many of you have canceled trips. One man canceled $10 million. $10 million worth of machinery orders from England. That's a news story that the puppets in the media should cover. Do you know that my being banned from England is a bigger story than Henry Louis Gates Jr. being arrested by a white cop? Think about it. One man gets arrested, shoots his mouth off. It's an international incident. How about a member of the American media? And I don't care whether you like me or not. I am a member of the American media, 3rd largest radio show in America. I'm banned by a Western nation, and the vermin in the media won't cover it? That's the world you live in? Savage.
Hi, we are Armstrong and Getty. We're on every weekday morning from 6 to 10.
He is a national treasure. He is Dr. Savage on Talk 910 KNEW.
All right, look, turn it off, the music already, the rock and roll. I'm so fed up with this Henry Louis Gates Jr. double talk con man. I can't take it anymore. I've had enough of this garbage. I grew up around these people. I know what it's like. I worked in a university. It's a con. All right, so the guy exploded at the cop, shot his mouth off, did the mama thing. And then, of course, Obama speaks up. He's the great legitimate Obama, the great president. And immediately the president says that the cop was wrong. They acted stupidly. Now, of course, to Obama's credit, now he's backtracking. He realizes he made a mistake. I mean, let's be fair. But it raises an issue of the president's judgment. And is he really ready for prime time? Who is he really? Where did this guy come from? Everyone's asking. How did an unknown senator, no one ever heard of him 2 years ago, you knew who he was? He cured polio? He cured cancer? He invented the transistor? No one knows him. He's president of the United States. I look at him, I see Alfred E. Newman Jr., by the way. I see a guy faking it from top to bottom. Now, there are people who argue beyond that. They claim that he's not even a citizen. And you know it's a huge thing. It's been pushed entirely by WorldNet Daily for 11 straight months. I wake up today and find out that WorldNet Daily is being censored from search engines, buried on Google News. Joe Farah runs WorldNet Daily. He's a friend of mine, I'm proud to say. Joe, welcome to the Savage Nation. Joe, are you telling me that the birth certificate links on your site are being buried?
That's exactly right. You know, I remember you telling me how you felt when the UK banned you from visiting. And,
yes.
I felt like I could relate to you much better today after, I work on the Internet. I mean, that is my world. And it reminds me of that old story, if a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, did it make any noise?
Yes.
WorldNet Daily breaks stories, and there's no search engine to bring them to people. Did we actually break any stories? Did we have any impact? And that's the question I've been asking myself today, because I woke up today stunned to find out that first, people were bringing to my attention the fact that Google had minimized the placement of all of our stories very dramatically, by the way. And then we started looking further, and we see all the other search engines have done it too. Bing, Yahoo, all of them. All in one day, Michael. How does this happen? Is there some?
Well, let's back up. You've been alleging that you're not sure that Obama is a citizen.
No. I never.
And what you say? You just want to see his birth certificate, right?
That's right. Because we want to establish constitutional eligibility for the president. The Constitution says you got to be a natural-born citizen.
All right, so all of the stooges for Obama, such as the MSNBC crowd, they're holding up a birth certificate. Is that not valid, and why not?
No, it's not a birth certificate. It's called the Certification of Live Birth, and it is, a very inferior product. And the reason it's inferior is because you could get one of these things if you were born outside the country. It was as easy to do then.
So do you suspect Obama was born in Indonesia or Kenya?
I have never speculated on where I think Obama was born. All I want to do is I want to see the Constitution followed. And that's why, by the way, none of these shows, Michael, that you see, everybody's on this story.